Welcome to the Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast, the tirade-filled movie debate podcast hosted by two film critics, cool dads, and struggling teachers. I'm Don Shanahan.
I'm Will Johnson.
We're damn glad to have you. Folks, this is all for tantrum's sake, where shared passions and high fives wash away any place for hate. In the end, we encourage you all to love what you love, but for now, the gloves are off and the Hissy Fit is on. Folks, we have a very special set of episodes we're recording today because Will Johnson has made the trip to Chicago. He is in person. I'm touching his arm right now. You can't see on the podcast.
Got goose flesh.
Right. But Will has come to Chicago on a nice family trip. Some for good reason, some for bad, but that's all right. That's right. But while he's here, we wanted to, if you've seen our socials, you've seen our video of us bantering back and forth. We're going to put that on one mic and on tape together today. We're going to throw some talks about Chicago movies, kind of our Chicago history, what brings him here, what has always had me here, and we'll kind of go from there. Mm-hmm. Not so much a love and hate thing with our usual format today, where it's not a lot of any minutes. I didn't bring the bell and the timer up here. We're just going to shoot the shit and roll.
That's right. That sounds great. We're here. It's weird making eye contact. We're kind of talking to each other, and then I'm kind of like, well, I'm going to look up at the ceiling because I can't look into those beautiful baby blues and not be seduced by them. So I'm just doing my best.
If I had a thing for guys with beards, I'd have a thing for a guy with a beard next to me.
Well, what can I say? But many Chicago people are not happy with my t-shirt right now, which we did a little video recording for you guys, which we're going to put on the socials. But I got my Super Bowl champion thing. I've been getting a lot of weird looks. I went into Dunkin' Donuts today on the way over here.
You would get a weird look in this city.
And there's all these people with Cubs tattoos and Bears stuff, and they're just like, what the hell is this guy doing? However, on the back where it says we beat the Packers in the NFC Championship game, that made many Chicago people happy.
That helps us a lot. Because if Aaron Rodgers won a title after bitching about his team all year, we would never hear the end of it as Bears.
Oh, my God. Yeah. It's too much.
It's bad enough. The going stat we get in town is, and they always show it on TV, is how many Bears quarterbacks we've had since the tenure of Favre to Rodgers, and it's like 75 different starting quarterbacks, and they've had two. So it's terrible.
Yeah, and because now I know we don't watch a lot. I was talking to you about this. I know we don't watch a lot of preseason football. We're not really fans of it.
I don't give a shit about preseason football.
But it is very Bears to put out their potential franchise quarterback in the middle, in the fourth quarter with 5 minutes left, when you're down 45-12.
That's real sweet of them to do that.
And then to get injured. So that's just that's a very Bears thing to happen.
It's bound to happen.
But this is not a sports talk.
No.
We don't have any hot takes or anything like that for you. Yeah. I mean, we both agree probably Michael Jordan, the greatest athlete of all time.
Easily. No question.
Yeah. Followed only by Tom Brady. Just wink, wink there.
I'm one of the few people around here locally who will defend Tom Brady.
Yep. I sure will. You sure will. All right. So, what I wanted to ask you first.
Yes.
We're in Chicago right now. We're in a suburb of Chicago. Don's address is, no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but
I'm in the city of Elmwood Park. Shout out to Elmwood Park.
Elmwood Park. Yeah, absolutely. For my first time in Elmwood Park. I've been in a lot of Chicago, but let's talk about our Chicago history.
Okay. I'm easy,
Yeah. What's your story?
So I'm the liberal unicorn who left a conservative town. I'm a gravel road farm boy from Peatone, Illinois. Shout out to Peatone. Okay. It's about 45 minutes south of the city. I am one of the people of that little town who actually went to college. Not good people. Good portion of my graduating class went to college, but it's really stuck for me. I went to school at St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana, about an hour. You're Northwest Indiana. So I went to that kind of Irish Catholic school. Movie roots there. Our Brian song was filmed there because of that was the longtime home of the Chicago Bears training camp for a long time. So my colleges, which has now been closed, actually. Yep. I have a man with a no college general alum. Our movie claim to fame is Brian's song. So after college, I wanted to teach. I went to where the jobs were, and the jobs were in the burbs and places here in Chicago. It's where they had the biggest need. So I've always taught in more of a city urban population, and that has always stuck. And I'm going to start year 20 of education right here. Wow.
Good for you.
Married the kindergarten teacher after being the fourth grade teacher, and she's always been a city girl. I've become a city person, and when I go home, I have to say, this is my life now. I'm not moving back,
Yeah, that's great.
Most family is very disappointed by me saying that.
Yeah, well, a little inside fact. One of the things that connected me and Don was I saw him on Facebook. He had a St. Joseph's, what was it, a football helmet?
Yeah,
of some sort? So my parents disgustingly got together and obviously produced me in college. So
Whoa, you were conceived at that campus?
I have no idea.
Wouldn't that be something?
I don't like to think about it.
Okay.
They did get married the day after graduating from St. Joseph.
Okay.
So, and that's partially why I'm here is my mom recently passed. I'm sure we mentioned it on the show. But her whole family's in Chicago. So that's kind of my connection.
Yeah.
Is I've been visiting Chicago. I'm a Florida boy. I'm originally from Tampa, if you can't tell. And then I moved to Phoenix. But I mean, I've visited Chicago. I mean, countless times. I've been here loads and loads. So that's kind of my Chicago history is just visiting family. I always kind of get the benefit of as you said, the Midwestern, what was it? Midwestern.
We got charm. We have good values here. Everyone helps everybody.
Yeah. No one lets me
not a lot of assholes here.
No one would let me do anything. Here, I can't pay for anything. I can't.
That's true.
I can't do anything. I mean, today to get to here, it's about 35 minutes, 40 minutes. Well, me driving about 50, but
sure. You got Sunday traffic. You'd still be driving if it was Monday morning.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But we, my uncle let me borrow his car, and I'm just like, are you sure? You don't know what I'm like as a driver.
Bring it back with a full tank of gas.
Yeah.
Right? That's all they say.
So, and I got my kids here right now, and they're enjoying it. My youngest daughter's first plane flight, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
My oldest has been here a couple times, so she's kind of familiar. So Chicago is kind of like, I don't want to say second home because I don't know. Like if you drop me in the middle.
I figured Tampa is second home with you now being in Phoenix.
Tampa would be my second home because I can still drive around there and know where I am. If you drop me in the middle of Chicago right now, I'd have no idea where I am. True. I need help for that. But I would say it is, let's say an honorary second home.
Honorary second home?
Maybe like a 1.5.
We would take the Browns at third. It'd be okay if we got Browns.
Yeah, and it's a great city to have that. But seriously, if you got a city that has my family and Don Shanahan in it, and his lovely wife and adorable kids. Your kids are so cute.
Right.
So seriously,
and they have left to go to church while I'm here day drinking with Will.
Yeah, that's right. He's day drinking.
What a Sunday! What a Sunday!
He's day drinking with the atheist, so that's really going to help the family. Help the family out.
Don't worry, it's all for podcasting. So no, since we got you here in Chicago, we figured like a good little episode to kind of banter back and forth, put some content out there, just to be together, is to talk Chicago movies. We're a love-hate crowd for Chicago movies. We're a love-hate podcast, so I'll go negative first. Because the loves are easy. Most people love the same movies about this town. Okay. Is there a Chicago movie you hate? Or you're like, you know what, that's overrated, this or that, or it's a shitty version of the city?
Well, let me preface it by saying that I was shocked at the amount of movies that are shot in Chicago because there's not that many. I thought there would be more.
We've had a renaissance in the last, when Batman showed up in 2005.
Yeah.
We've had a renaissance since then where there's a shit ton of TV shows produced here. Like you hear about it here in the burbs here, or even in the city, like has Chicago Fire shot on your block yet? Or, the whole NBC family of shows. And sure enough, this past February, Chicago Fire did shoot on my block,
Oh, nice.
And then like Dennis Leary was here with Rescue Me for a couple of years and they shot on our block, so it's become a TV town. But
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, the keep going.
No, I was going to say, but I'm looking at a list right now of films. I mean, there's really nothing to hate about. I mean, of the list that I have, I guess now here's another Chicago fact about me. My mom's family is all South Side Chicago, so they're all White Sox fans.
I know.
So Don here is Cubs fan.
I am.
So that's troublesome. But I suppose the movie Rookie of the Year might be a problem for
Sure.
I can't imagine my family, paying money to go see a ticket about a Cubs pitcher.
Yeah, and a little kid Cubs pitcher at that.
Yeah.
No, it's we were talking before the show here. It's unfortunate they've had more Cubs movies than White Sox movies. Like when I think of scenes at Comiskey Park, Comiskey Park has doubled in movies to be like Tiger Stadium or things like that. And and my best friend's wedding had a Comiskey Park scene right around when that park was new because it opened in 91. They shot that movie in 95, going on 96. And so it was a newish ballpark. It looked real cool in a movie, especially with Julia Roberts holding a pitch of beer in a movie.
They had that in the trailer. I remember I was just like,
yeah, I'll go watch Jurassic Park for that. So, but Wrigley with the Lovable Losers thing has been, between Rookie of the Year, League of Their Own shot some stuff at Wrigley because it looks like an old-timey ballpark. Some of that stuff still kind of hangs in a little bit.
I mean, there's more Minnesota Twins movies than there are White Sox movies.
Yeah.
But in fact, there's actually more Tampa Bay at the time Devil Ray movies with Disney's The Rookie.
I know.
Than there are White Sox movies. I remember the White Sox being in I think it was Major League 2.
Okay.
Because they were kind of the villains in Major League 2. They were in the
someone's always got to be the villain if it's not the Yankees.
Yeah, it was because I think I can't remember who the main villain was.
It had to be the Yankees.
In Major League.
Always the Yankees.
Was it the Yankees? That's American League team. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, the White Sox were. They had what was his name? I always get him confused. Well, there's Keith David, and then there's David Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Keith David is the booming voice dude from the thing.
I don't want to be Big Bird from Sesame Street, but one is black, one is white. Okay, just saying.
Yeah. So David Keith, who
kind of that surly, always plays a slime ball in like 80s, 90s
he's
movies.
Always either like a bad guy. I actually just watched The Two Jakes with Jack Nicholson. It's kind of a sequel to Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene where Jack Nicholson makes him suck on a gun barrel, and then David Keith pisses himself. It's great. Great cinema.
Yeah.
But no,
take that, Scorsese.
But I remember he was like the bad Chicago White Sox. Well, he was on the Indians and he gets traded, and then he's hitting 1,000. I remember watching that in the movie. I'm like, there's no one who hits 1,000, especially that late in the season. But anyways, the point is that for such a city that has such a interstate sports rivalry, it is surprising that there isn't. But if you're a Cubs fan, I mean,
you got
Rookie of the Year is movie. Like, I mean,
you got Gary Busey, Daniel Stern
directed it, right?
I think he did.
Yeah. That's interesting.
The other thing I see about movies that like you feel like, oh, that's got to be Chicago, and then it's not, is the movies that like borrow exteriors here, but then they shoot them someplace else. And I was doing some research a couple years back for like I did a stupid little column like best Chicago movies, and Toronto has been our city stand-in for a very long time. So like movies that you would think like, oh, that's such a Chicago movie, like Adventures in Babysitting. They exteriors only shot in Toronto. John Q, Time Traveler's Wife, Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Was John Q a Chicago movie?
Like the hospitals and stuff, I guess, that are in the movie is in Chicago.
Okay.
Gotcha. iRobot, Source Code. They borrow some exteriors. Most of it shot in Vancouver, Toronto.
Well, I was going to say but that's kind of common for a lot of cities.
It happens like that. Like Georgia has been every Marvel movie. Cleveland's been New York and Avengers. So
because remember when they made that big deal, the Jackie Chan invasion, stuff, and they made that big deal about Rumble in the Bronx, but it was really Rumble in Vancouver or Toronto or wherever the hell it was. So that's pretty common. But it does seem like Chicago gets like the face value, but not the representation.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So.
If there's another Chicago movie I hate, I'm just not a fan of the Transformers movies. So you can take.
Are they here? Are they in Chicago?
We had the one. We had Dark of the Moon.
Jesus Christ! Terrible name for a film.
Oh, I know.
By the way,
so that movie, I don't know if you. I can't tell the movies apart, but I can tell that one apart because it's in Chicago. I know they borrowed like Patrick Dempsey's like your corporate heavy in that movie, and his like headquarters is the Art Institute, the Art Museum in Milwaukee, because it has this beautiful unfurled patio thing going on there, and it's an art museum. But then they borrow Chicago to like, of course the city they can beat up and things like that and tear up and all that. Rampage borrowed some Chicago exteriors when The Rock knocked over the Willis Tower and things like that and fell perfectly on its side and The Rock was fine. So there's some silly ones out there.
Yeah, that's true. I was actually talking about my family about this because I told them we were going to be recording. And so they were very proud. They're like, we got to find these Chicago movies.
Right.
There's a lot of movies that will like take place in Chicago for like, couple seconds, and like for one was my cousin was very adamant that this was not the case, that it was a Chicago movie, but someone said Hope Floats, and she was like, that movie is not a Chicago movie. She's in Chicago for 10 seconds and then blah. So it's so there's movies that have Chicago in them, and then like you said with the Nolan Batman movies,
where it's Gotham. Man of Steel's used this to be Metropolis. We've been borrowed.
This is, to be honest, many of the issues I have with the Nolan Batman films is the fact that they used Chicago and had Chicago as Chicago.
It did
as
look
Gotham,
exactly
and it's
like Chicago.
Where is the reason why Batman's so interesting in these other films, like the Burton films and even the Schumacher films, is because they're kind of like this heightened, grandiose,
big production design
stuff. And then Nolan was just like, we'll just film on Michigan Avenue.
We'll just go dingy Chicago. Yeah. I mean, I know you need something, but dress it up, make it not look like Chicago.
Exactly.
Like my favorite Chicago scene in at least one of the Nolan movies. I love the first Tumbler ride where he's in Lower Record Drive in the tunnel road, and like that was under construction at the time, and like you can drive that road now, and I throw on the Zimmer music when I drive that road. Like I'm gonna dart through traffic because I drive like a sound bitch. So I that's the one part I enjoy, but. We've got some loves on a list here. What are some Chicago movies? Those are the hates. What are the Chicago movies you or I love?
Well, we were looking at the list, and I was like, I don't think any of these are bad movies.
No.
There's one. We'll start with you because there's one that I haven't seen, which is kind of like one of those blind spot movies that I feel like I should have seen by now, especially with who's in it and what it's about. And it's got I don't want to say like a great director. It's a Ron Howard film, right? Backdraft.
I call him in the Hall of Very Good.
Hall of Very Good. Yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
Lately, he fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I'll just say it.
I did watch Rush recently, and I like that.
Rush is solid.
So, but I never get like excited for.
He's
Ron
not
Howard
appointment
movie.
Viewing. Yeah.
Yeah, but Backdraft is on your list, and that's one I haven't seen.
Yeah, Backdraft is one of those movies where. I was so in '89. I think it came out in '91. I was like 11, and like most kids around, just any Midwestern kid from small towns, one of the jobs you want to be when you grow up is a firefighter, And then you watch that movie, and if no spoiler alert here, it's about two firefighting brothers whose father was a firefighter, passed away on the job. In tragic movie opening fashion with Hans Zimmer strings and brass laying it in,
Right.
And it's about these, dueling brothers where one is, the big brother is this super amazing, almost heroic fireman. The little brother is I'm stuck being a fireman because the family says I'm a fireman, and but I'm not really good at it. I'm totally not what my brother is. Right. And in my family, I'm big brother. So I go to Kurt Russell and I go, I want to be a big brother like that. I want to be a heroic to my little brother someday, or also be this amazing and cool firefighter. And the movie is really good. Like for 1991 standards, practical fire effects. Most of the actors in the film were their own stunt person, like credited in the movie as stunt performers, not just they had a double in there and all that. So, but you got De Niro, you got Sutherland, you got Kurt Russell at his machoist, and it's just William Baldwin. He's technically the star of the movie, but it's the show of other things. But no, super solid Chicago movie in terms of just Chicago-ness. Not as many Chicago sausage talk, all that. They really play those stereotypes high on TV. There's not as many of those in the movie.
The Bears.
Yeah. But as a kid who wanted to be a firefighter, you watch a tragic movie about firefighters. I didn't want to be a firefighter after that movie. Well, but at the same time, it's for me, it's a guy cry movie, like because there's a just poignancy to it that I don't want to spoil. So
no, don't spoil. I think it's on HBO. I'm going to watch it.
It's solid. It's solid.
But that's a little
high one for me, though. Not normally high on most people's Chicago list, but it's up there for me.
That is a Chicago connection as well. My grandfather was a Chicago fireman.
Nice.
And actually, he did have if I'm thinking of what you're thinking of in terms of a big Hollywood thing, my grandfather did have kind of a Hollywood, so unreal that you can't believe it happened. But I remember my grandfather was my mom was 6 or 7. My grandfather was on the top of a building, 8 stories or something like that. I don't know the specifics, and the building exploded. He flew across I don't know how many feet, but he landed in a used car lot or something across the street. And my mom had no idea if he was going to live or die. And and then he became my understanding is he became kind of as he got older, he would draw city maps for the firemen. And
cool.
So we have a strong fireman history in our. So
it's that blue collar kind of city where everybody knows a cop or a fireman. Yep. I know several. It's just that kind of thing. So
he told me
you come here to the city to be one of those things.
I can tell you would like it because you have a little mischievous streak in you. I can tell. Mm-hmm. My grandfather would tell me like what would happen if someone parked in front of a fire hydrant and they needed to use it. They would bust out all the windows, put the hose through the car.
They do that exact scene in Backdraft.
Oh, do they? Okay, well,
reference from Chicago.
Okay, there you go. See, I haven't seen the movie.
They took this gorgeous Mercedes and hammer the windows through and go right through it. It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's sweet. I will talk about one.
Go for it.
So I have a 12-year-old daughter, and we've done plenty of movies. We've done all the Marvel movies. She was interested in that. And so I've started to say, okay, she's old enough now. I'm going to do what my parents did. I'm going to say, we're going to watch a movie.
Yeah.
And for the most part, she does it, even if it's reluctant. Like we watched all the Indiana Jones. We've done all this. Mm-hmm. So The Fugitive, which was filmed in Chicago, that showed up on HBO. And I was really in the mood for a Harrison Ford movie. I figured that's a connection. She knows who Harrison Ford is through Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Great actor, one of my favorite actors of all time. And I said, we're going to watch The Fugitive. She's like, no. And I said, no, trust me. We're going to watch The Fugitive. So she kept saying no. And so for the first time in my life, I don't know if you've ever had to use this power. I call it the daddy executive action, where I basically
use the word veto in this house.
Veto. Okay. I literally just said, sit down. Mm-hmm. You have no choice. I'm your father. Mm-hmm. You will watch this movie with me. So she watched it as a hostile witness. But I was showing her Chicago throughout because it is a great Chicago movie. It's got a lot of, I don't want to say it has a lot of Chicago personality, but it like a good Michael Mann film, it really uses Chicago as a character, I think.
Yeah. That parade scene is what most locals point to. It's like, because they shot that on the fly during the St. Patrick's Day parade. Putting stars in and around, you have one shot at that, to make that work. And but the rivers and the public transportation, and they really work that city well.
Just the way that they filmed it, and it's very dramatic. I mean, even using the L trains as a plot device, you know, for the the state of the art technology of sound recording and stuff like that. It was pretty awesome.
And they go to enough. Like not the most major and obvious Chicago places for different things. Like for example, whatever that hotel is at the end with the big fight is like my wife had her prom there. It's like that kind of thing.
Really?
Like just randomness of like everyone could go, oh yeah, there's that. And I remember they used actual Chicago reporters to do the reporters in that scene. They really grabbed a piece of Chicago. The train. What cracks me up is the stuff that's not Chicago in that movie. Like the big dam and like train wreck with the woods and the hills. Yeah, there's not a hill in Illinois at all.
Is there a dam here?
No. Okay. So they shot that probably Kentucky or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, for me, me, I'm a favorite versus best guy. To me, that is the best movie that's been made in Chicago. Yeah. I don't think it's the favorite movie for me, but it's the best movie.
Your favorite best. I mean, you've been. Sometimes
I gotta delineate.
Sometimes you go away from that just to troll me. If anyone's followed me on Facebook, I was recently talking about Robert Redford, and I gave my 3 off the top of my head favorite performances, and then Don had to get on there and be like, "Oh, your choices suck."
For the glorified, the one you picked 2 winners, and then the glorified Marvel cameo because you're the Marvel
glorified Marvel cameo. He's the villain,
but he's done so many other things, though.
I know, but I like him in that. It's a great selling point too, because I can tell like older family members. I'm like, oh, you want to watch Robert Redford? Yeah. Let's watch. And my kids know who Robert Redford is now.
Sure. And even Redford himself said, I want a movie my grandkids can see. Yeah. That's perfect.
And to defend it, I'll go on a little sideway here. 3 Days of the Condor.
Amazing movie.
A very, very influential on Winter Soldier. I watched it recently and I was like, they even have an elevator scene. They've even got all this stuff. It's very influential on that. But anyways.
So, as the favorite versus best guy, since we're 23 minutes in, we probably should keep things 30. To me, best versus favorite, my favorite Chicago movie, which I think shows the city off the best of any Chicago movie. Plenty of movies are good in Chicago. Plenty of movies make Chicago look good. This movie makes Chicago look like $1 million. It's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, sure. And that was another one that had a parade that I believe they filmed on the spot, right?
Filmed on the spot.
A lot of locals in it. Yeah. I think there's one scene of a construction worker dancing, and that was just a random guy that was enjoying the times.
Yeah. But I mean, every kid in this town dreams of having the Ferris Bueller day.
Sure.
You know, like, can I ditch school and see all the shit that he saw in a day? Because he's going to museums. He's going to a Cubs game. There's noon and 1:20 Cubs games where you can pull that off.
Sure.
And it just really showcased, the city the best. Like, you could just take a passport through the city to all the places that he goes to between the parades and the streets and that. And then just the banter. And then as a kid, I didn't realize it till later, like, his best friends walk around like you are with you're walking around today in a Tampa Bay t-shirt. His best friends walk around in Detroit Red Wings sweater.
That's true.
You would get slayed in this city for that. So the balls of Alan Ruck to go walking around Chicago and that, it cracks me up.
Yeah, no, Ferris Bueller is interesting because I like that it has, it's dreamy enough that it has a lot of, have you read about all these kind of like, what do you call it? Hot takes about how like maybe Ferris is not real and he's part of like Alan Ruck's imagination, or like there's all these kind of cool theories about like what he is, because he does break the fourth wall.
He does.
He's kind of impossible to. He's like a trickster god. He's like the Loki of.
He is.
Ferris. He gets away with everything. Everybody loves him, no matter if they're a freshman, a senior, an adult, the secretary. And I do got to say that the villain of the piece, Jeffrey Jones.
Oh, he's awesome.
As his real life unfolds, it makes him more villainous, because you're just like, oh, so this is a guy who works with children every day and really wants to punish this one to the point of going to their house. And it's like, when you know about Jeffrey Jones, I mean, look it up. I'm not going to go through it. But,
I know.
It kind of makes him even more villainous. It's great. But
so that's my favorite Chicago movie. Do you have one that's like the favorite?
Well, okay, so
of the high-end ones that are out there,
I'm looking at this list because this is the best. I mean, like
best I can do.
There's a lot of films that have like Chicago scenes in them, which are cool. Like I remember, I think Road to Perdition. They go meet Capone, don't they?
Yeah, but they go to like those rural banks along the way. Like it's a story of getting from like Des Moines to here, from Iowa to here. So they knock off the little banks along the way, and many of those little banks are shot in some of the rural towns south and around Chicago. Like one of them was really close to where I grew up, towards Piato and Beecher. So like, but it does start to eventually culminate in Chicago, but they borrowed a lot of places.
But I think there's a scene with Capone, I think, in Chicago.
Frank Nettie.
Is it Nettie?
Yeah, Stanley Tucci plays Capone's top lieutenant.
It's Frank what's his name? LaPaglia. What's that actor's name?
Anthony LaPaglia?
Anthony LaPaglia plays Al Capone. I remember Al Capone has a cold the whole time. I thought that was really cool.
Oh, I don't know.
It's only like one scene.
Well, that's why I'm thinking of the Frank Nettie stuff with Stanley Tucci.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I'm not.
I'll look it up. It's been a while.
Yeah. It might
solid movie, though.
You know what? It might have been a deleted scene.
That could be. I don't. Yeah. I thought that's ringing more of a bell.
Yeah, because that seems. The more I think about it now, I'm like,
And I kind of like that it would be fun to have that, because it's a graphic novel that's fictional, but it'd be fun to have that touch upon that actual history. And I guess Frank Nettie's the best you get. And I think I'm guessing they deleted it also because it would probably take away from the heavy that is Paul Newman in the movie. Like don't make him look less composed, make him be the end man. So.
Yeah. Well, and that was a great film. I'm glad we brought it up because that's a great, what do you call it? Anti-Tom Hanks performance.
Totally. And there's so few of those.
And I like that. What drew me to the picture the most was that all those like henchmen you see in gangster movies, the ones that get shot by the police or, sneer in the background. I like that the movie focuses on one of them. This isn't the charismatic crime boss. This isn't, this is just the blue collar henchman, the gunman, the bag man, I thought that was really cool. Let me see. I'm looking at this list here. Untouchables, I like. Brian De Palma, I think, great movie, great. You like Kevin Costner? So
I do. I'm a big Costner fan.
The only thing I think maybe...
That Union Station scene at the end, man. Whew.
Yeah, which
you can visit those steps. It's so cool
that's true. He did...
De Palma or Costner?
Yeah, De Palma did that, but I feel like he almost like replicated that.
He borrowed it from a French movie and then used it again someplace else.
Then, of course, Naked Gun, whichever one, played that where O.J. Simpson has the baby, catches the baby, and he's about to spike it. High Fidelity. I've read the book and seen the movie.
I have not read the book. I need to.
The book takes place in London.
I do know that.
But the movie takes place in Chicago.
Do you feel like it's a good transport?
Absolutely. I would have had no idea. It's perfect transportation to. It's not as abrupt as another book by Nick Hornby called Fever Pitch.
Oh, because that's soccer versus baseball.
So, because you have soccer in England, and then you have Jimmy Fallon with Red Sox in Boston. It's quite a drastic turn.
Okay.
Well, especially because it's Boston, they suck.
Yeah.
But
and I'm not a Drew Barrymore person. That does nothing.
How dare you?
She's horrible.
What do you mean she's horrible?
She can't act.
What are you talking about?
Future show. Here we go.
Oh God, what are you talking about? Drew Barrymore's a great actress.
No. She's a
great. Okay, I'm not going to say great. I'm going to say good actress.
Oh, maybe.
Now, this is going to tie in because we're going to wrap up here in a second. But so this, whenever this goes out, I don't know when this is going to go out. It's either already happened or if you're listening to this in 2050,
right?
But I'm going to be doing a live Cinephile Hissy Fit recording with a guest co-host since Don. I come visit him, but he's not going to come visit me.
Good luck getting the family out of the house here, man. Yeah.
But I'm going to be doing a live screening of Scream 4. And then we're going to do a Q&A, or not a Q&A. We're going to do like kind of a history deep cut look at Wes Craven's filmography. Anyway, I bring that up because I think, and I want your take on this since we're talking about Drew Barrymore. I was telling my family the other day that I think the opening, I think it's a 10-minute sequence. The opening 10 minutes of Scream, the first Scream with Drew Barrymore, I tend to think that is one of the most well-directed, well-edited, well-acted, and well-written scenes in movie history.
Absolutely.
Like,
I know horror doesn't get the pub that it should get next to the dramas and next to the all-time high things, but the craft to make that rug pull, open the 10 minutes of your movie and you put a star like Drew Barrymore in there and you have no idea it's coming, and then you merge cuts and music and sets and the movement and her frazzle.
Yeah, that's why I think she's a good actress.
For stuff like she can sell that stuff. She can't sell a lot of other things, but she can sell that. Like she'll never be in a costume drama.
Hey, she was in Bad Girls, the Western with Madeline Stowe.
And she played the floozy like she's supposed to be. So that's she's the Mila Kunis of Westerns.
Yikes. Ooh, you know what? That's tough because I only like Mila Kunis in one film, and that's Forgetting Sarah Marshall. So
I Black Swan, that's it for me.
That's right.
So one and a half.
1.5. Because she's not really the star of that. No. She's kind of more
she's the B player there, but right in the starting lineup.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a good one. All right, we're getting off the beaten track here.
You want to do a lightning round of other favorites?
Yeah, I'm not going to say favorites because I don't. Well, you know what? While You Were Sleeping is something that I saw a lot, and that was during Sandra Bullock fever.
That was her high time.
Speed had come out, and everyone fell in love with her, including me as a young man. I was in 6th or 7th grade. You know, I thought she was adorable, and I saw that movie probably 4 times in the theater.
Dang, nice.
I did. I saw it a lot. That's back in the day when my mom would just drop me off at the theater, whatever. We got.
I'll advertise a pair of little ones. Very similar to While You Were Sleeping in terms of the rom-com kind of thing, but actually a lot of heart to it, literally and figuratively. Is Return to Me, David Duchovny and Minnie Driver. So, Duchovny, for those who don't know, small little 2000 film directed by Bonnie Hunt, great comedian. Yep. And I don't think the writing in this movie is really solid, despite being a rom-com. So a guy loses his wife in a car accident. She dies. The recipient of her heart for transplant is the woman he falls in love with, unbeknownst to him and unbeknownst to her. Because this woman's only alive because of his dead wife's heart. And then they realize, of course, in a silly, happenstance of things like, oh, wait, you're the one that received my wife's heart, and I wouldn't be here without it. And it's just, and it's sweet, and it's like a fun little mixture of like Chicago and Irish, or Italian and Irish Chicagoans, because you got Carol O'Connor and Robert Loggia. It's an easy little favorite of mine, and it has as much drama as it does comedy, and it's just a unique movie in that way where so many things are straight silly rom-com, and this one has some punch to it. And Belushi's not bad in it, and Bonnie Hunt gives it good seasoning. Yeah.
Gives that a little extra umph because she's a great writer. But
the other one I'll advertise as a micro movie that's got a good cult status since is Love Jones. Love Jones shows just great. Lorenz Tate and Nia Long.
Oh, that's right.
Nia Long. And it's one guy's a poet and an aspiring kind of writer. One's a photographer, and it's just my friends will tell me all the time, just like it's just such a unique perspective of Black love, and so few of them are out there, like where no one in the movie is a Black stereotype because it's been written and directed by a Black filmmaker, and it's just I really appreciate it because it's a different scene of this city, still very authentic. Chicago, shot here. I put it right next to the photograph this past year as being like, finally a Black romance that doesn't have to revolve around a stereotype like crime, drugs, and this and that. No racial oppression, no dealing with white people bullshit. It's just a good movie that just happens to have Black people.
I do seem to remember there being kind of, they don't really do it anymore, but during my AMC days when I worked at AMC, I remember there being kind of like every now and then there would be like a Black-centered film, usually by a Black filmmaker. It doesn't seem like they make those anymore. There was well, maybe the Tyler Perrys of the world make them. But there
those
was
are
like
their own caricature attraction.
Yeah, there was like exactly. First Man, I think, with Taye Diggs. It was one with the bachelor party or whatever.
Best Man.
Best Man.
Yeah.
And then there was a really fun movie called The Wood.
The Wood is a very good movie.
The Wood's really fun. That's a great coming of age movie.
See, those are the films I wish they'd make more of than just more Tyler Perry. Now, don't get me wrong, Tyler Perry, paves the road with gold. Some others can follow, but But no, that's some good stuff there.
What's this one again?
That's My Best Friend's Wedding.
Okay. Yeah,
we haven't brought up the Blues Brothers. Are you a Blues Brothers guy?
I
could take or leave it.
Take or leave it. Yeah. Take or leave it. I don't get Belushi. I don't get it because
the appeal is hit or miss for me.
Well, because I was recently watching 1941, and he's just so bizarre in it. Like I don't get the humor of it. It seems like it's just a wild man with psychosis.
And to me, that's Blues Brothers. Like, okay, it's a musical. A honky-tonky go around the city musical, but people tell you around here, everyone's never watched Chicago.
Everyone loves
everyone loves Blues Brothers. I could take it.
Yeah, that's true.
End the show on a mixed bag.
And that's my last thing of research about Chicago. I could have sworn to God, especially because of Ghostbusters 2, a pizza joke in that movie, that Dan Aykroyd was a Chicago guy. But he's a Canadian.
He's very much Canadian.
Yeah, I thought he was a Chicago guy.
No.
Anyways. All right. So,
this has been fun.
Yeah, it absolutely has.
Let's do it again in 5 minutes.
Yeah, let's do it again in a couple minutes. Follow us on Twitter at Cinephile Fit and on Facebook at Cinephile Hissy Fits Podcast. Also, find us both on Letterboxd. Thank you so much for your captive audience and social media participation. Cinephile Hissy Fits is a 25YL media podcast, and it's as important, Don, because you always forget to plug this.
I do.
When you talk about the show, but it's brought to you by the ruminationsradionetwork.com. I think one of our episodes with the main
Mitch Proctor
did it drop?
As of this recording, our episode on The Crow has just dropped. Please listen to that episode. Great passion, very good episode with our guy Mitch Proctor.
No, but we also did one with Ruminations.
Yes,
I can never remember the damn name of the show.
Ruminations from the Red Room. See, I got that part right.
See, I don't get that right ever.
But no, we were profiled and interviewed by Mitch on his show, talking about what makes us tick as movie guys. So seek that out. Ruminations from the Red Room.
Yes, absolutely. So, but please visit, rate, review, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this show, we have more where that came from with interesting hosts, a live event. More wonderful guests. We're booking guests all the time. We've got some great ones in the books already. Ben Calmer, Laura Knight, Mitch Proctor. Am I missing anybody?
No, those are the three we've had.
Yeah, we've had so far. These are all available on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere you find your favorite show.